I'm Dianna Kennedy, your new Mrs. USA Curvé 2025. So I'm a part of the Mrs. Globe organization, which is a pageant system, which is an international pageant. I just competed nationally for the national title of the Mrs. USA Curvé title. So I was Mrs. Washington Curvé. That was my state title that I held, and now I am the new national title holder. So as a national title holder, what I do is I represent something. And what I represent is my platform is called The Makeup Within. It is it's a message about beauty, confidence, inner purpose, and really using that, not just your outer beauty for something, but using your inner beauty for something. And so that's what I stand for, is I reach out to women and I help them really build that inner confidence that exudes outward, and then you can see it on the outside as well. How it felt for me to hear my name called out as the winner. I felt excited, I felt overjoyed, I felt honored. I even felt like I was looking around like, oh my gosh, like just stunned, shocked. I just felt this sense of just honor. Like I knew that this is not just a crown, this is not just a title, this is an obligation, this is a purpose, this is a mission that I'm standing for, and I have chosen to stand for that mission, and by being called the winner, I knew now I have to really drive that cause. So I was just excited, I was ready, I was just, let's do this, let's start it and let's get it going. So I was excited for that. What inspired me to compete in the Mrs. Globe organization was my coach. My coach, Tasha May, she inspired me. I've known Tasha for years. She actually was my director 13 years ago. I was in the Miss Plus America pageant system for Washington State, and I was actually Mrs. Kent Plus America 13 years ago. I've known her for years. I've been doing her eyebrows. She's a client, she's a friend, all these things. And she has brought up Mrs. Globe to me multiple times, and she's like, you'd be perfect for it, you should try. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, just kind of apprehensive about the whole situation. And I seen Tasha last year. One of my friends competed for the Miss Washington pageant system, Miss USA or Miss Washington USA last year. I did her makeup, I went to the final show, and I had this really weird feeling when I'm sitting in the final show and I'm watching the women grace the stage, and I just had this like gut feeling like, I think I can do this. So when I seen Tasha after the show, we were taking pictures and she was like, Dianna, Mrs. Curvé, and I was like, I don't know. And so we actually scheduled a time to talk, and we talked about it, and I told her, let me pray about it. And I did. And when I prayed about it, I felt like this was it. It took me a minute. It took me a minute to accept it and to receive it. So I had to follow that design. I had to follow that purpose. And the word talks about that our steps are ordered. And so I knew that no matter what trajectory that I wanted to take, that I knew that no matter what steps I took, it was going to lead to the Mrs. Globe organization. So my platform is called The Makeup Within. It started off as an Instagram name. I used to pray, and I really wanted an Instagram name that was of substance. And at the time I was a makeup artist. And a lot of my friends were like, oh, why don't you do The Beauty Within? That makes more sense. And I said, no, what God's given me is the makeup within. And what it is, it's about not just outer makeup. Is we can apply all this makeup on our face, we can do our hair, our makeup, our nails, all these things. But it's really about what is your inner makeup? What is making up your inner makeup? And that's what God gave me. So fast forward, and it's actually right before the pageant that I did, and my pageant platform was The Makeup Within when I did the last pageant. But fast forward, it's now a business, and God gave me the Makeup Within Beauty Studios, and now I have 3 locations where I house over 30 entrepreneurs in the beauty industry to start their beauty-based business. So it's more than just a business, it's a mission, and now it's a message that I need to get across the world. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity, because before I can just reach my immediate community or my immediate audience. Now I get a national platform to really share what God has given me. And it's not just, again, about your outer beauty, but it's about sharing what your inner beauty is, and that makes your outer beauty exude. So the Mrs. Globe organization started as a fundraiser for the WIN Foundation, Women in Need. What the Women in Need Foundation is, it's a nonprofit organization that helps women overcome narcissistic and domestic abuse. So their cornerstone program is called the Reclaiming Me program. And what that is, it's a 6-week program that helps women really overcome this abuse by certain steps. So when you join this program, you are given opportunity and you're given chances to really figure out how to reclaim who you are as a person, how to reclaim your life, and how to restart fresh with these great tools that they give you. And I actually personally was in the Reclaiming Me program as well. I have never been through an actual domestic or narcissistic abuse relationship, but I wanted to firsthand know how it feels and know kind of what tools they have to give you. And it actually was very, very helpful. And I have found that there are certain tools that you need, even just in your personal life, with family, with friends. It really just lets you know who you are as a person and what to stand. How to really set boundaries in your life, and how to really just kind of have a little assertiveness in your life, and not to always be the yes man on one end, but also not to be, too compliant or to be too assertive, right? It's really find this healthy balance of who you are so you have healthy relationships all around. So I appreciate the Mrs. Globe organization. Again, it's more than a beauty pageant, it's more than a crown, but it really helps build women from the inside out. And that's what boils down to my platform. It really kind of coincides. So that's why I joined the Mrs. Globe organization. So what it took for me to prepare for this pageant was mainly a spiritual journey for me. I am really big about not doing things for my own personal benefit, but really a mutual benefit, right? I feel like when we are aligned with God's purpose, we do get rewarded. But I didn't want this to be for vanity reasons or for my own personal benefit. I wanted it to be for what God wanted greater for the kingdom. And so I had a fast. That was one of the things that God made me do. And it's one of those things because fasting isn't always fun. Fasting isn't something we always want to do. And we feel kind of, I don't know, like we're missing out. But it's needed, because what it does is it takes you out of your flesh and into your spirit, man. So for me, that was what needed for me to really prepare for this journey. Also, my coach, Tasha May, we did a lot of interview questions. We talked a lot about the purpose and the reasoning behind why we're doing what we're doing. She really centered me on wardrobe and how to really present myself in the best light. We focused a lot on that. And really who's the person I really want to show people who I am. Because again, it's more than just outward, it's really inward. So when you present outward and inward, it kind of all comes together. We did some runway walking. We practiced that. We also did some photo shoots. I did a lot of appearances as well. And these appearances really get you ready for what life is going to be after the title, if you win. And that really kind of shows me what life is going to be like and what is needed out there, right? So people really need a voice, a strong voice that is not shy to speak your truth and to really share with the world what your purpose is. And that's where we are. So what I'm most excited about in my reign is meeting people. I feel like, again, I had stated this earlier, but if I was to not do this pageant, I would only be able to reach my immediate audience or maybe my immediate community. But really having this larger scale, this larger audience, this bigger door opened for me, it's gonna allow me to meet so many more people and really make more connections, really have a lot more opportunities that I wouldn't have had before. I'm also super excited to grace the international stage at Mrs. Globe. So next year, next June, I will have the opportunity to compete internationally. So I will be on the stage with queens everywhere in the world. I mean, this year I've seen girls from Japan, from Russia, Ukraine, just everywhere all over the world, Trinidad and Tobago and BVI and all of that stuff. And so next year I will have the opportunity to also grace that stage and really give everything that I have, again, not just on that national level, which I've done, but on the international level. So I'm super excited of what's to come with that. My message of what I hope other women will take away from my win is that you never know where life is going to take you. Like I said, 13 years ago, I did a pageant, and I thought I was a one and done pageant, time in my life. And when I look back, and I look at now, I would never would have thought that that's the trajectory of what God had for me. And it's crazy because so much happens in life, right? People pass, we go through grief, we go through happiness, we go through joyful moments and sadness, and our kids grow up, and we even change relationships sometimes and friendships and jobs. And so many things happen where we don't know where life is going to take us. And it's really about enjoying the journey and knowing that God has a bigger purpose, a bigger plan for you to trust the process. When I do eyebrows for women, there is an ugly stage. There is a stage that you go through. It's in the permanent makeup. So there's a scabbing process, and there's a process where you have this beautiful brow, and then the scab has to form. It has to heal. It's ugly. It's dirty. It's you have some scabs on, some scabs off, and it just doesn't look pretty until it heals. So there is a healing process we all have to go through in life. And when you go through that healing process and you allow life to happen, you just go with the flow, and you know that God's got you. You will get through anything you need to get through in life. And so that's the message I want women to understand, is to trust the process, really believe that God's got you, and He's holding you up with His right hand. And it's okay when things don't go our way to just trust and then believe everything's going to work out, and it always does. And I am living proof of that. So when I leave this earth, how I want to be remembered is a woman that wasn't scared. The word talks about that we are not given a spirit of fear or a spirit of timidity. And what I see is a lot of people scared to go for their dreams. They're scared of success. They're scared of what tomorrow looks like. And I have learned, my dad passed, my mom has passed, and my brother has passed. And those are all three people very close to me. And I've realized that two of those people just passed abruptly, where we didn't know that tomorrow wasn't promised, right? So when I look at that, I realize that we have to take life to the fullest, and we cannot be scared, because God has a bigger purpose for us. And if we just sit back and we live in that fear, we're not really utilizing what God really wants for us. And I look at people in the Bible. I look at Moses, I look at Esther, I look at Noah, and even Job, and they all went through things where they didn't necessarily feel adequate. They didn't feel like they were qualified, but they didn't use their fear to keep them crippled. They used their fear to motivate them. And even Esther, she fasted, and she's like, I'm going to fast, I'm going to push through this, and I'm going to do what I need to do to make this purpose happen. And so in life, when we just sit back, we sit in the moment and we realize who we really are and what our purpose is. It's bigger than us, right? It's bigger than what today is. It's what the future is holding, and only God knows what the future is holding. But if we really live in who we are and who we are meant to be and not live in fear, God can really utilize us to our biggest, greatest, most potential. And not putting God into a box. When we put God into a box, we kind of stay under our potential. So really living outside of that box and not letting this glass ceiling that's invisible keep us down and keep us stuck. But really pushing through that glass ceiling of whatever fear you have, and growing and realizing that you are made for this. You are made for a time such as this. So whatever that time is, whatever that purpose is, keep pushing and don't be scared. Do not live in fear, but let it push you and let it drive you to excitement to get whatever you need to get done out and accomplished.